In the Sierra Nevada mountains, there is a tree that requires disaster to survive, the Giant Sequoia. For decades, human park rangers made a fatal mistake. They thought their job was to protect the trees, so they suppressed every fire. They put out every spark. They created a safe environment, and the trees began to die. You see, without the low-level heat of regular fires to clear the underbrush, the forest became a ticking time bomb. When a fire finally came, and fire always comes, it didn't just clean the floor. It burned the canopy. It destroyed everything. You are doing the exact same thing with your life. You are suppressing the small fires of accountability. You are avoiding the heat of difficult conversations, of looking at your bank account, of admitting you were wrong. You think you are keeping yourself safe, but you aren't building safety. You are building fuel for a catastrophe. Let us speak plainly. I spent 35 years in the corporate world, managing risks that were measured in the hundreds of millions. I have sat in air-conditioned boardrooms and muddy construction site offices in the scorching heat. And I have seen powerful men with degrees from the finest universities, ruined, not by the market, not by the economy, but by the Ostrich Algorithm. The Ostrich Algorithm is the psychological mechanism where we bury our heads in the sand to avoid negative information. In finance, it's the credit card statement you don't open. In your career, it's the feedback you dismiss as hating. In nature, this is the equivalent of the underbrush accumulating on the forest floor. You tell yourself, I will deal with it when the time is right. But this is a lie. You are not waiting for the right time. You are waiting for a miracle. And in the laws of physics and finance, miracles are not a strategy. What you are actually doing is increasing the entropic load of your life. Entropy is the tendency of systems to move toward disorder. Accountability is the energy required to keep order. When you withhold that energy, disorder doesn't just sit there. It multiplies. I want to tell you a story from my early days in project management. We were building a massive infrastructure project. There was a young engineer, brilliant but proud. He noticed a hairline crack in a retaining wall during a routine inspection. The schedule was tight. The penalty for delay was massive. To report the crack meant pausing the work, calling the structural experts, and likely missing our bonus. So he rationalized it. He used what psychologists call cognitive dissonance reduction. He told himself, it is just a surface shrinkage crack. Concrete does that. It's fine. He didn't log it in the risk register. He chose the comfort of silence over the pain of accountability. 6 months later, the monsoon season hit. The heavy rains saturated the soil behind that wall. The hydrostatic pressure built up, just like the interest on the debt you are ignoring. The wall didn't just crack. It sheared off, it collapsed. The landslide damaged the main structure and buried machinery worth millions. The project was delayed by a year. The investigation found his negligence. His career was over in an afternoon. Why do I tell you this? Because you are that engineer. The crack is your spending habit. The crack is your lack of marketable skills. The crack is the relationship you are neglecting. You think that by ignoring it, you are buying time. You are not. You are buying a disaster at a premium price. This is the brutal truth about human nature. We are wired to avoid short-term pain, even if it guarantees long-term death. It is a biological flaw. In the wild, avoiding a predator kept you alive. But in the modern economy, the threat isn't a tiger. It's a compound interest curve. It's a skills gap. It's a reputation decline. These predators move slowly, silently, and they feed on your denial. We live in a society that encourages this fragility. We have cancel culture, where mistakes are fatal, so everyone hides them. We have social media filters that hide our flaws. We have toxic positivity that tells us to only look at the bright side. This is poison. It creates a generation of people who are essentially dry tinder, waiting for a spark. When you refuse to say, "I messed up," or "I don't know," or "I cannot afford this," you are suppressing the fire. You are letting the dead wood, the lies, pile up around your ankles. You might feel safe today. You might feel superior to those who are struggling openly. But you are fragile. A fragile system is one that breaks under stress. A robust system, like the sequoia, needs the stress to function. The sequoia seed is sealed in a cone that is glued shut with resin. Do you know what melts the resin? Fire. Without the intense heat of a fire, the cone never opens. The seed never touches the soil. The tree never reproduces. If you avoid the fire of accountability, you are keeping your potential locked inside a resin of fear. You will grow old, but you will not grow up. You will age, but you will not mature. And one day, the real fire will come. A recession, a health scare, a divorce. And because you haven't practiced burning off the dead wood, you will be consumed. The diagnosis is clear. You are suffering from accountability deficiency. You are addicted to the illusion of safety. And in my 60 years of life, I have learned one thing for certain. The longer you wait to face the truth, the more expensive the truth becomes. So, how do we survive? How do we stop being the dry tinder and become the sequoia? We do not do it with affirmations or positive thinking. We do it with a protocol I call the Scorched Earth method. It requires 3 steps. And I must warn you, the 3rd step is where most people fail, because they try to do it without the pain of the first 2. It's like trying to build a roof before you have poured the foundation. It will not work. Step 1, the controlled burn. In forestry, rangers now intentionally start small fires. They control the burn to remove the hazard. You must do the same. This is radical inventory. Most of you are walking around with a vague sense of anxiety. You know something is wrong, but you refuse to look at the data. Tonight, you must light the match. Open every bank account. List every debt. Read the last 3 performance reviews you received, specifically the parts you ignored. Look at your screen time. Look at your caloric intake. Do not judge it. Do not make excuses for it. Just write it down. This is the data phase. In my corporate life, we had a saying, "You cannot manage what you do not measure." But more importantly, you cannot fix what you do not admit. The pain you feel, you see that negative balance or that poor performance review. That is the heat. That is the fire burning away the dead wood of your denial. It hurts. Good. It is supposed to hurt. If it doesn't hurt, you are still lying to yourself. Sit in that fire. Do not look away. Step 2, the serotinous seal. Remember the sequoia cone? It is serotinous, meaning it only opens under heat. You must artificially create heat to force yourself to act. This is public stakes. Private accountability is a myth for the undisciplined. If you promise yourself you will save money, you will break that promise next Tuesday. Why? Because the only person you are lying to is you, and you have 0 respect for your own word. You need external pressure. In construction, if we missed a deadline, we paid liquidated damages, thousands of dollars for every day late. We moved heaven and earth to avoid that. You need liquidated damages in your life. Tell a mentor, a harsh friend, or your audience exactly what you are going to do and by when. Give them the permission to humiliate you if you fail. Put money on the line. I once knew a manager who wrote a check for $5,000 to a political party he hated. He gave it to his friend and said, "If I don't finish this certification by December, mail the check." He finished the certification 2 weeks early. Why? Because the pain of the fire was real. He broke the seal. He released his potential because he gave himself no other option. Step 3. The ash bed. This is the step everyone wants, but you cannot have it without the fire. After a fire, the forest floor is covered in ash. To the untrained eye, it looks like death. But to the sequoia, that ash is pure nutrient. It is rich in nitrogen and minerals. It is the perfect soil for rapid growth. Once you have admitted your failures, the burn, and forced yourself to act, the seal, you will find yourself in a new landscape. You are no longer protecting an image of perfection. You are standing in the ash of your ego. This is where true confidence is born. Not the fake confidence of the man who thinks he is invincible, but the quiet, stoic confidence of the man who knows he can survive the burn. When you own your mistakes, you disarm your enemies. If I walk into a meeting and say, "I messed up the projection. Here is the fix," nobody can use that against me. I have already burned the fuel. I have taken the oxygen out of the room. I am in control. My young friends, stop trying to be the hermit crab, constantly looking for a bigger shell to hide your soft body. Be the sequoia. Your bark must be thick enough to withstand the criticism of the world. But your core must be willing to accept the fire. Do not fear the crisis. Do not fear the low bank account. Do not fear the honest feedback. These are not signals to retreat. They are the signals to open the cone. Let it burn, and watch what grows from the ash.